And we are live here. Thank you for joining me. I am joined by our esteemed co-host, the one, the only, the flying one, the guy that crashes more airplanes than anyone I've ever met in my life. His name is Flying Rich.
And walked or limped away from them.
Yeah, I guess so.
So Crumpet, I did not listen to the whole thing at 2X. I caught the end of Braden Langley Outdoors, who's mostly indoors, doing it, and it just seemed like I think the Supreme Court walked away shaking their head, saying, "Why did we grant the certiorari?"
Yeah, I mean that is. I mean, it. Well, they granted a certiorari. I mean, that's actually a good thing that they granted a certiorari. Let's first talk
I
about what
got
the
you.
case
Okay.
is. Let's first talk about what the case is, though.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we got the horse before the cart, reverse, vice versa, going in reverse.
Yeah, the case is basically, um,
It's Taco Bell versus US.
yeah, uh, um, that was kind of racist, but okay.
Taco
No,
Bell's
it's
American as American is. Anyhow,
okay. Basically, Mexico wants to sue the gun manufacturers because they say that they are complacent with the whole entire thing with
they're they're just
being.
following Eric Holder's lead. So
Yeah, they're saying that they're aiding and abetting the drug cartels, which
was
is which is
was Eric
BS.
Holder the defendant? I don't understand.
Yeah, which is BS. So what they're claiming is that the gun companies, specifically Smith and Wesson, which is the name one, which isn't really the only one, but it's named right, that they are aiding and abetting the drug cartels and getting them firearms. But they have a huge, huge problem because we have something called the Protection of Lawful Arms in Commerce Act, the PLCAA. Um, so basic, the protection, the the protection of lawful commerce and arms act. They can't say that. Whatever. PLCAA. PLACA. And PLACA says you cannot sue gun companies for the misuse of their products, and that's what they're trying to do. What they are trying to say is, hey, they're aiding and abetting, so there is a carve out in PLACA that says if you're aiding and abetting in a crime, then you can be sued. The problem is the gun manufacturers rarely sell directly to the public. And the ones that are named definitely don't sell to the public because Smith and Wesson, for example, they don't sell to the public. What they do is they sell to a distributor network, whether that be RSR, Davison's, Mid South, Chattanooga, whatever the distributor is, and then that distributor sells it to the gun stores. Then the gun store sells it to a person, and they're saying, well, it's a Shaw purchase. And then that Shaw purchaser, which bought from the gun store, sells it to a smuggler who walks it across the border, runs it across the border, whatever you want to say. And then that smuggler sells it to the cartels. So you have this huge, huge chain, and any link in that chain that is broken says that the gun manufacturers are not liable. And I don't think that they're liable. And in fact, I think that this case will be dismissed and Mexico is going to lose because I think they're going to lose either 8-1 or 7-2, if not worse.
Not 6-3.
Not 6-3. It's going to be 8-1 or 7-2 because even the liberal justices seem kind of.
It was pile on the rabbit. It was bad.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that I did hear is where they asked, well, can states sue Mexico because of all the drugs that are coming across? And she's like, well, that's sovereign. Well, sovereign immunity. And I don't think that the judges really bought into that.
There's a whole. All right. So first off, I knee-jerk reaction. I'm like, hey, why did they grant the certiorari? But John counters with, hey, it's a good thing they did, because then we just like,
We
yeah,
nip it in the butt once and for
yeah,
once and
this
for
way it's
all.
dead. I don't the whoever the attorney was arguing in front of the Supreme Court, was she Mexican? Was she? And hey, Anderson
American.
Manufacturing, how are you, sir? Was she like a Mexican citizen arguing in the U.S.? Does it
No,
have to
no, no,
be
American.
so it has to be U.S. law firm's attorney in the Supreme
Well,
Court? Is that
you got to remember, the people that are helping Mexico are the anti-gunners.
no, really? How
Yeah,
could that
every
be?
town, if you read, and basically it's a bunch of racist shit that they all put out there.
Hmm.
But all the stuff that they said were from like every town in Brady, and those American anti-gun organizations help Mexico, and I believe that they're probably behind a
Hmm.
lot of it.
Hmm. So it's probably you sign here. Will provide the legal assistance.
Mitten State, that's one of the questions that were asked, and she's like, "Oh, they're solving immunity," and how's that? How's that any different, right?
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, Johnny 3 Bar paid for by USAID. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. All right. So first off, BS case without merit. But it's a good thing that it's here because we get to squash it like a bug. The the brain trust on the left of the Supreme Court didn't seem to be buying any of it, which I was like, what?
No, I didn't think they would. I mean, the case law is pretty. Yeah, okay. Rumble Premium. I have to stream certain amount of times to Rumble Premium, 5 hours a month, because of my deal with Rumble. So we're
Uh-huh.
going to Rumble Premium here as well. But you can also watch it on YouTube for free.
So it was I, it's gonna be a landslide victory for gun rights and a big smackdown for Mexico. And we got Jordan Finro out there. How's it going?
Yeah, I think it is. No one seemed like, even Jackson, I'm not even sure is going to, which she's the dumbest person on the Supreme Court. I have no idea how she got on the Supreme Court. But yeah, like, even she's such an ideologue. But even her, she was kind of skeptical of their arguments.
Well, so and let's just take the gun argument out of it. If they pierce this corporate protection, I mean, then could you go after an automobile manufacturer for building 4, 5, 6, 700 horsepower car that it aids me in speeding
Yeah,
and causes my death?
well, you got to remember, this is basically to hurt the gun industry.
Yes, yes.
They know it's a baseless case, but they're just trying to get the gun industry to waste money, because the gun industry probably wasted close to $1 million to get to this point.
Hmm. Okay, so in a normal, healthy environment, healthy financial environment for the firearms industry, $1 million wouldn't be a big deal. But the firearms industry has not been as profitable as it has been in prior years. So yeah, the dollar amount is probably hurting, and it could be just one of those. The process is the punishment.
Yeah. Uh, that we discussed that a little bit earlier, how like every town has their hands in it.
And Jordan, I guess, suffered through the entire video of the oral arguments that he can't handle the hypothetical arguments they keep bringing up.
Yeah, well, the whole entire case was based on hypothetical arguments, right?
Well, if you name a gun the Santa Maria or whatever, of course cartels are going to buy it and do evil, wrong things with it.
I mean, doesn't Geisley make an El Jefe? I'm serious. Don't they make it El Jefe?
I don't know for sure.
Pretty sure they do.
I just think it's ridiculous arguments that they make guns specifically attractive to cartels. I'm like, so you have proof. You have an email from Smith and Wesson that says make this gun particularly attractive. Like there was a board meeting and they're like, we need to sell more guns to cartels. We need to make the guns more attractive to
Yeah.
cartels. Name it the El Jefe, the
Well,
sombrero,
yeah.
and
Yeah, ALG Defense, which is a guys leaves like lower end, they do make an El Jefe. But yeah, and here's the thing. They also said that gun companies make the removing of serial numbers incredibly easy for cartels. The way serial numbers are put on guns is regulated via.
by the chewing gum industry. What? I'm sorry, who?
No, it's regulated by the United States. They say that it has to be this. This is the standards, and the gun companies are doing it to that standard.
Because the ATF requires it be in like the most malleable of plastic, like you just put in the oven for 120 degrees for 15 minutes, and then it just like poop, serial numbers are gone. Is that correct, John?
No, that's not how it works. It has to be on metal and everything else.
On metal,
and it has to be a certain depth, a certain size, and that's all regulated by regulation, right? By
you mean I couldn't just scratch it in with a Dremel? It has to be a certain frickin' depth.
It has to be a certain freaking depth, and all these gun manufacturers are doing it to the specifications laid out by the ATF
or AFT. But Mexico lady, she said that it's easily erasable. I've been working with my pencil eraser for about an hour now, and I mean it looks shinier. That's about it.
Yeah. It's a ridiculous argument, and I don't think it really holds weight. It seems like they were trying to throw everything. And one of the things I found interesting, and I totally agree, is the defense was like, hell, we're not even sure what the hell they're suing for. and it's true. It's like none of their arguments make any sense.
So this is the classic case. There must be some problem in the liberal brain. It never gets to the point of the and then what. The questions that liberals never answer is and then what. Who knows?
Yeah, it's really my favorite part was when they were like, so, should should states be able to sue Mexico because of the for the fentanyl? You're like, oh, that's sovereign immunity. That's sovereign. Nope.
You mean the country of Mexico is shipping the fentanyl into this country?
Yeah, and I think John Roberts said, so it's a one-way street. She's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I think Roberts just said that, but it absolutely is a one-way street.
Do we have this lawyer's address so we can send her a pallet of aloe for the burn?
Well, I mean, it's not really her fault. She might be a great attorney. It's just that the case that she's arguing
sucks.
Is a shitty case. So I don't think. I think that the dismissal it's going to be dismissed. So, because just the way it is, it's not really conducive to the PLCAA. Placos, definitely protects these companies from doing this. And the chain is so long that it's almost impossible for it not to be broken. I mean, FBA sent you. Okay, that was from Rich.
That's from me. I've been typing, so.
Yeah, so the chain is definitely broken, and aiding and abetting is not going to really work in this case.
I don't understand. I don't know what Johnny 3-Bar is saying. She used the Chewbacca defense. What is that?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, I
Did you
want to
just make
know.
weird sounds? It says,
Oh, it's South Park reference. All right, hold on. Where's Grok?
yeah, the legal strategy which a criminal defense lawyer tries to confuse the jury rather than refute the case of the prosecutor.
Ah, it's a type
Uh,
of red herring fallacy.
Johnny Cochran is the guy doing
If it
it.
doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah, hell, it worked for OJ, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm a little shocked. I mean, dude, if you're an attorney, how much money would they have to pay you to make that crap up and go up there in front of the Supreme Court and ruin your reputation forever?
Yeah, it's not going to ruin their reputation. I mean, it's like even if you lose at the Supreme Court, if you've been in front of the Supreme Court, that is a huge thing on your resume.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean that's kind of like the old saying, who won more World Series? The New York Yankees. Who lost more one World Series? The New York Yankees, because they've been there. Um I don't know. I call it just being the biggest loser.
Getting to the show means a lot on a resume.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I guess, but it also means you're a simp if you're taking BS cases like this to get there.
Oh man, lawyers do lawyer stuff, man. And I got a lot of friends that are lawyers. Most are good, but there's other lawyers that don't care and they just want to get to the show.
Yeah.
And who knows if she's on staff at a law firm, which she is, and they assign her the case, it's not like she can like say, "Oh, I'm not taking this case." She has to take it.
Woo, Johnny Three Bar. Look at this guy. We ought to give him his own show. I clicked. Did I click on the wrong one? Where'd it go? It said, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's it. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with BS."
Yeah. So this is definitely gonna be a loss for Mexico, and I'm one that says, I can never be for sure what the court's gonna do. If anybody tells you what if they know what the court's gonna do, then they don't know what's going on. So I'm not gonna say it's 100% that the Supreme Court's gonna rule against Mexico, but I think the odds lie highly, highly in the favor of the gun companies here.
I think this depends on how many new houses are purchased by all the anti-gun groups for Sotomayor, Kagan, and Tarzan Brown Jackson.
No, I mean, I don't think I think they lost Sotomayor.
Yeah, yeah. It does seem
They
that
lost
way.
Kagan too. Jackson, I'm on the fence about, but I can't see them getting all three of those justices.
So you don't think this is going to be a 6-3 Supreme Court decision? You
I
think
don't
it's
think
going to
it's
be like 8-1, 7-2?
8172. It might even be 9-0.
So we are above the 6-3 Supreme Court
I think we're above the
threshold.
6-3 Supreme Court. It looks like they lost everyone. The Mint State media, I would agree with him. He thinks it's going to be 8-1 Jackson. Even though Jackson seemed critical of it, but Jackson, Jackson is going to Jackson. So I think
Well, she
that
comes from a good family.
he probably will side with Mexico on it. But Kentucky Brown Jackson is probably going to be the only one that's going to vote for it, if any. But that's what my prediction is going to be 8-1. But I can see it going 9-0, or I can see it going 8-2.
Would it change the face of the Second Amendment forever?
Maybe. No, it would maintain the status quo. Because what they're trying to do is it is a Second Amendment attack. It's just a Second Amendment attack in disguise. The right to bear arms means nothing if there's not a way to acquire said arms, and that is from McDonald versus the city of Chicago, and they're trying to get rid of acquiring the right to set arms. And I think it was ridiculous that this woman tried to say, that by naming them like El Jefe or whatever, I'm not El Jefe, I can't remember what it was, but that they're
The
trying to
Burrito
appeal.
Supreme.
They're trying to appeal to the cartels.
No, they should just call it El Chapo.
Burrito Supreme is not a Mexican food.
Dude, of course it's Mexican. I get it at Taco Bell. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Call it the chalupa.
Yeah, Burrito Supreme is not a Mexican food.
My next gun bill is going to be called the Burrito Supreme.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell it to Mexican.
And you got to remember, Taco Bell was started by a guy named Glenn Bell.
Glenn Bell? Not like Harry Schmittenbaum?
No.
The
It started out as a hamburger stand, and then, but whatever. Some of their arguments do not make any sense. And there were tons of hypotheticals. The hypotheticals are getting on my nerves because hypotheticals really don't work in the court of law. And she was like, well, do you have any specific examples? And then she was like, yes, I do. It's on page, it's a paragraph, blah, blah, blah. And then that was hypothetical. So that wasn't actually an example. Like an actual example. It was a hypothetical.
Well, the good thing was, it's like, oh, well, X thousand of these guns got in Mexico. It's like, how many were in America? I don't know. So you can't say there's a disproportionate amount of a particular firearm going to Mexico if you don't know how many remained in the U.S.
And plus, I don't even think that it matters, because it doesn't matter. It's made for the U.S. market. If people are going to basically,
in my mind, there's a lot of hurdles that have to be overcome. I mean, the ATF approves a transaction. It's not up to the FFL. I mean, the FFL can say, even though you're approved, I'm not selling it to you in cases. But I mean, unless the guy says, yeah, I work for the Mexican cartel, I'm going back, I need the El Jefe, I need 10 El Jefes to bring to my cartel boss in Mexico. Unless that happens in the FFL.
You sounded like Speedy Gonzalez, and not.
I was really channeling what's his name from 21 Jump Street.
I have no idea, but I think you missed the mark there.
Or was it 22 Jump Street? And I missed Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, but like, who approves every straw purchaser? That every single straw purchaser that's purchased a gun was approved by a certain organization.
The ATF.
The ATF has approved a straw purchasing. Every straw purchaser.
I mean, I'm still, kind of in the, I can't believe the Supreme Court took this. I understand why it's a good thing the Supreme Court took this.
Well, I mean, it is a good thing that they took it. They can go ahead
kick
and
its arse. Yes.
Yeah. So that is a good thing, right? That they took it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm waiting for the breaking news about this. Oh, that'll be in a couple of weeks.
So I believe that, this is the best thing. I was happy when they took it, because I knew what they were going to do. Because, I mean, like, even the liberals, I mean, this is a bridge way too far. way too far, man. Because even the liberals on the court, because you got to remember, if they allow this to go, this is going to set up a lot of other court cases and stuff that they don't want litigated.
Yeah,
You
Mitten
know?
State's saying this is a huge stretch.
Yeah. If they do that, I mean, we can sue Mexico for such and such. Then, Ford can be sued for drunk
Making the 5.0
driving.
Mustang with drum brakes.
Yeah, it's I mean, it allows drug companies to be sued for the misuse of their product, even though they are being sued. But you know, it's really, it really was. And yeah, Jackson was reading from the Everytown brief. It really was. But what we are seeing here in this case is the co-opting of a country by anti-gun groups like Everytown. And I will say Everytown because there was Brady in there, but it was mostly Everytown. In fact, the head lawyer from Mexico, the person that got this whole thing started, was an Everytown lawyer. Everytown worked with Mexico to get this case filed.
Yeah, so not a gun tube. We're just covering the oral arguments in front of the Supreme Court about Mexico versus U.S. gun manufacturers.
Okay, and we also have some. Okay, so we're gonna mark a couple of these down, and we're gonna answer some questions here. Really quick. I'm gonna get back to here. Really, let's just do this one first. Could an FFL get sued for disassociation if they deny to sell to a Mexican if the FBI gave the okay? Uh, the FFLs can deny whoever they want. They're protected. Do you see
Which, and I
moving
don't,
forward?
I just want to interject here. You can get sued for anything. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter if it's legitimate.
you're not.
Somebody could cause a nuisance lawsuit to fall upon you.
Yeah, you're not going to win. But do you see this moving Snopes forward? I don't think this is have a direct result on Snopes, but I do think that that's the fact that they didn't deny Snopes cert right away. That means someone is definitely interested in taking it, and it's probably on the border. So we'll have to see if Snopes get taken or not. But there's definitely a willingness to take it. I do believe that they're going to settle the assault weapons thing once and for all, whether it's Snopes or whether it's the Illinois case. One of those cases are gonna get taken up. And since they haven't denied cert, there is interest in Snopes. So that is a good thing. So we'll have to see. It just keeps on getting rescheduled for conference, so we'll have to see. But I think there is a case coming up soon. And it could be Snopes, and I got a feeling it probably will be Snopes unless they want to roll like a bigger case into it that deals with more stuff, like Illinois case or something. But they're going to take an assault weapons case, and I think it's going to be pretty soon. It's just a question of which one, and I think that's the whole entire delay. They're deciding which one. Yeah, it's still be a year off, so we'll see what happens. Gunskull or in killing denied a cell and turned out and whoops, sorry. Let me just do this. Gunskull and Kellen denied a cell and turned out a guy about 10 to 15 years ago. The guy was a wannabe terrorist. Sometimes being denied is a good thing. Yeah, I mean, if you think the guy is like up to no good, then then you do what you need to do, right? But yeah, that is definitely something that we have to look into when you run a gun store, because sometimes you have some people come in there and they're just something that's not right about them, and you got to follow your gut. And they're protected. They're allowed to do that. You're allowed to refuse service to anyone you want to refuse service to. Like when I was at a gun store, this guy came in and he wanted to buy a particular gun, but had no idea about anything about it. He pulled out a piece of paper and goes, "Oh, I want to buy this gun."
Ooh.
And he read it off. So I picked up another gun that was nothing like it and handed it to him to see what he would do. And he's like, "Okay." And I was like, "Yeah, something's going on here. This isn't right." And I didn't want to be busted by, in case it was like a sting or something like that. Like, is the ATF trying to get me, or is this guy just a straw purchaser?
Right.
And I didn't want to be busted by the ATF. But he had no idea what the gun he had. And when he brought out the piece of paper and read it off, I was like, something's not right here. Can I refuse knowingly to sell to a Democrat? You absolutely could. I'll sell to Democrats. I've only denied one sell because of something that was kind of sketchy. And it was the situation I told you. SDNY has all the Fast and Furious evidence. That's why.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. I will say without the SDNY, we would have never known about Fast and Furious. Southern District of New York, basically the local USA, the U.S. attorneys went and prosecuted because they knew what was going on. So the guy brought it to SDNY, and they started prosecuting it, and then that's how it kind of turned out that Fast and Furious was found out. The guy went to David Codrea of Amoland, and David Codrea is the actual guy that broke Fast and Furious.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, David's a good guy. But that's how Fast and Furious got broken. It was the local AUSA would not do it. I'll check this out. Kurt, thank you so much for a year and a half on the news channel. All right. Anything else you want to bring up? Any other questions before we get out of here?
Yeah, it just looked like a bloodbath. It wasn't a good case. I understand why it's important to be in front of the Supreme Court, but there were zero merits on this case.
There's definitely zero merits on the case, and one of the things that they wanted to do was just, I mean, it is what it is, right? They just want to make it so they can go after companies, make it more expensive, because the whole entire purpose of cases like this is not to win. It's just to make it more expensive. Governments have trillions of dollars. Even Mexico has trillions of dollars to spend. They can outspend you. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to outspend. So hopefully this case will be coming to an end. It will be dismissed. But yeah, it is to try to outspend you. And you have groups like Everytown, which co-ops government because they want the Mexican government to use their money to do this instead of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole entire thing, right? Is to make it so expensive. The whole entire goal, it's just like the Maryland lawsuit, the Maryland DC lawsuit against the 3 FFLs. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so expensive to be in the business of firearms that no one wants to be in the business of firearms because they know they can't regulate firearms out of existence. And they tried to do stuff in like in McDonald's versus the city of Chicago. They tried to do stuff like push make regulations that you can't have a gun store within certain blah blah blah. Basically trying to make it so no one in Chicago can open up a gun store, and that failed. And so now they're trying to make it too expensive to shut down gun stores because they can't do it through the federal government, so they're going to try to do it through lawfare. There's actually what's called a CLE, which is continuing legal education, that Brady put on a couple years ago, and that CLE was how to get around PLACA, right? How to get around the PLCAA, and to do it. And the whole thing was, you go to these places, and even if you don't win, you're going to cost them such amount of money, and you're going to find friendly anti-gun politicians and cities and states that will push back against this. And that is exactly what they're doing. So this isn't about winning, and they know they're going to lose. They absolutely know they're going to lose. But what they want to do is they want to just make it so expensive that these places go out of business. All right. If we don't have any questions or anything, we will get out of here. We'll be back at 5 over on Rumble for John Crump Live. And with that, we are going to get out of here. And I will play down the shut down the ATF outro just because I like it. And we are out of here.